What makes a game memorable? Is it a fun and engaging gameplay, an emotional and deep story that connects with millions around the globe, or an innovation in a genre or a video game series? All of the games considered to be the best of all time have some of these characteristics, from Ocarina of Time and the whole new dimension to play around, to The Last of Us and its engaging and emotional storytelling.
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
And of course, Breath of the Wild. This game not only redefines Zelda's series as a whole, going full open world for the first time ever, but it redefines what an open world game is capable of, giving full freedom for players, explore, interact, and solve problems the way the player wants, to a degree that even Elden Ring took big inspiration in its world design from Breath of the Wild. The impact this game had when it launched was astronomical, a Hyrule never seen before in the biggest scope possible, where the possibilities are endless. A game in which every discovery has a weight, an emotion, and that is so rare and difficult to replicate. When Tears of the Kingdom was announced in 2019, my hype couldn't get bigger. I mean, a direct sequel to a mainline Zelda game is rare. The last instance of such a thing was in the year 2000 with Majora's Mask. And god, this trailer had so much personality, had a tone and atmosphere so darker than the previous game. It felt new, different, but still in the same world. And after the same shenanigans of many release dates delays Zelda is known for having, in 2023, it finally releases. I was ecstatic. Yeah, bitch! The Legend of Zelda is my favorite gaming series ever, and I played it to death, and I finished 3.5 months after release. And with almost 100 hours of game, I truly went deep into this game, and still I feel like I didn't see everything. Hell, in the last 10 hours I was almost rushing to finish it, and it still had so many things going on. Whoa. This game is amazing. The story is way better told to us, with flashbacks in the form of dragon tears, and there are lots more cutscenes happening in the current time, exposing more of the active characters of the game. The world itself is better, with 3 different maps, one for the Sky Islands, one for the classic Hyrule, and the last map, the Depths, which has the same size as Hyrule, which is very impressive. And even more impressive is how they didn't show or tell any of it in the trailers and promo stuff. Gameplay wise, Hyrule is way better than Breath of the Wild as well, with a little changed up Hyrule a couple of years later after Breath of the Wild, new towns and a huge amount of caves to explore and loot, and places that have been affected by the uprising, like Kakariko Village, changing the whole village landscape, with many NPCs doing many things, like explorers that search for armor and give out treasure maps, minigames like Ultra Ball Hall in Tanagar Canyon, and side missions where you have to fight alongside a small group of people against monsters posts. There are pirates attacks in Lurelin Village, where if you complete their side mission, you clear the village of the pirates and it becomes a living, breathing village again. Major cities are affected by many different storms, like of sand, snow, that visually changes throughout the story after the player's completion of the main quests. Riddle Village defrosts, Gerudo Town, which was deserted, returns to being the living and busy town. Goron's once high on rock crack, he needs some milk! Get clean, and Zora Domain's sludge stops, unveiling again the luxurious and beautiful city architecture, previously tainted with shit? Paint? That thing. And these changes made Tears of the Kingdom feel extremely more lived in and real. It doesn't have the same level of interactivity as The Witcher 3, for instance, but damn, it made a good difference for me compared with the last game. And not only that, but the storytelling significantly improved as well, with the story way more complex than Breath of the Wild, with mysteries around what happened to Zelda, the Zonai, and who is this Ganondorf. And even a plot freaking twist that I don't want to spoil in this video.
Excuse me, princess.
Tears of the Kingdom is in every sense an amazing game and an improvement from the last installment, and not only does everything better, but adds so many incredible things on top of that. And after all of that, after I finished and looked back at my experience with this game, I felt something weird. Why didn't I get as impacted by this game in comparison with Breath of the Wild? I loved the gameplay loop and the new mechanics, and I dearly loved the story. And a matter of fact, I liked it multiple times over the previous one. So why? Well, after 5 days of thinking non-stop about it, I believe I got my answer. Tears of the Kingdom used the same map, and even though it has changes in the map and has 2 more maps in the mix, the overall atmosphere in Hyrule is the same as the last game. When you explore the world, it has the same vibe, the same waypoints, biomes, cultures. Exploring the same map with some minor changes in towns, for instance, still feels amazing and engaging, but lacks one of the biggest things with Breath of the Wild: that sense of adventure, of going off to worlds that you don't know yet, finding different places like Ludfow's Bog with a giant mushroom looking place, or just exploring a big canyon that leads to a forgotten temple. All in very natural and spontaneous way that truly felt like an adventure. You don't know what you'll find, and that made every part of the exploration so much fun and natural. And that feeling, that unpredictableness, in my opinion, made Breath of the Wild the biggest game since GTA 3 and showed what open world game is capable of. And when you reutilize the same map, that same impactful feeling takes a hit. Unveiling each region of the map doesn't have the same weight and the same feeling of wonder as it had before, since we are already familiar with what the region is, whether it's a desert, a mountain, or cliffs. I remember each time I unlocked a new region, I would spend hours just wandering and exploring. I spent 2 days in the cold Gerudo Highland finding new shrines, unfreezing things hoping it would be a chest, only to be an enemy, and that is just one small part of Breath of the Wild's map. Whoa! After thinking more about this, I figured it out a way that Nintendo could remedy this and do pretty much the same thing except for one detail: change the atmosphere of the game as a whole. Look, in the opening sequence, Link and Zelda are exploring the caves beneath Hyrule Castle, and bro, it's one of, if not the best, opening sequence in a Zelda game. Man, it was spooky. You could feel the tension and uncertainty of the place when they came across a weird and creepy place with a corpse hung by a glowing hand. You could cut the tension with a knife, only to everything turn even worse as the corpse, almost in a jump scare, looks at them and attacks. Man, this opening is amazing. It has its own personality and it's different from the previous game, and I was on board of it. But the thing is, this creepiness is far in between. The majority of the time when you're exploring, solving puzzles in temples and fighting the bosses, the game doesn't have the same vibe. Of course, the depths are pretty creepy. The first few hours when you're exploring it are creepy as fuck. Everything is pitch black and you have to manually and slowly throw bright bloom seeds to light up every few steps. And the first time seeing frogs in the distance, in the dark, amazing. There was one time I remember when I was exploring with a hoverbike and out of nowhere a giant thing just hit me in the air and dropped me. As I screamed scared, I tried to see what was going on since my bike had a bright bloom seed that I was using as a light source was far away from me. Then I just looked up and saw that giant bug-like enemy just flying in the dark sky, and the chills that mom gave me were absurd. Sadly, these moments are rare in Tears of the Kingdom, and I truly think that if they went to a more creepy, darker vibe in this game, the impact of exploring the same map would drastically improve, making it feel different since the atmosphere is different. It would not only make so much sense lore-wise, as it would match the premise and vibe of the beginning of the game. Tears of the Kingdom is a masterpiece. It is better in every aspect than Breath of the Wild, and to be honest, better than 99% of the games. But the lack of impacts in the game is a shame to me. I want to make clear that everything in this video is my personal opinion. And if you disagree, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. This is 2D. See you next time.